So you're looking to start a brand new Football Manager save and you don't know whether to start a Journeyman jumping from club to club to club to club, or a one club save where you stick with one club and take them to glory. What should you do? Who knows? What actually is better, a Journeyman or a one club save? Why not stick around, watch this video and you'll find out. Hello everybody, my name's Pokes and welcome to another video on this channel, and I'm so glad you joined me today. Today we are looking at that debate between what is better, a Journeyman save where you jump from clubs to club to club to club to club, getting glory after glory after glory, and it's really about you as the manager. What's better, that or a one club save, which is more about taking a club often from the lower leagues or often from not necessarily the top league, but taking a one club save and bringing them through the ranks. More about that team specifically. What's better? This is what we're going to explore in this video, and also what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about 5 kind of pros and cons, I think, of each, and kind of really raise this debate. But I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. What do you think is better? Have you got any more pros and cons that you think are worth mentioning when it comes to what is better, a Journeyman or a one club save? Stick them in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts and have your input into this. As for me, I have got a bit of a story about this that we'll come to at the end of this video. So stick around and I'll share about why I'm making this video and the story behind it. Because this is the thing, right? You're here at the beginning and you're thinking, I want to start a new save, it's going to be great, but you just don't know where to start. Where do you begin? Maybe you've done lots of Journeymans in the past, maybe you've just done one club saves, I don't know, but it's worth exploring what you're really looking for when it comes to a Football Manager save. And time again, people who've played the game for a long time ask this question of like, I want to start a save, but I don't know what to do. Shall we get looking at these 5 points and that might help you? And before I get into them, I just want to say, obviously, this is so super subjective, right? These are my opinions. They're not like the rules kind of thing. However, what I've done is I've sort of collected over years really of playing this game from myself, but from other people, gathering sort of thoughts and general ideas of what I notice and what people tend to say about these 2 different types of save, what people tend to like and dislike about them. So as I said, there's bound to be some stuff I missed, but I would love to hear your thoughts as well. So stick it in the comments below. And naturally, if you do like this video, then stick a like hit the like button. You know, what are you waiting for? Well, they're waiting to see if this video is any good. That's what they're waiting for. And of course, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content. I'm going to be starting to make weekly videos here on this channel, so stick around for that. And if you want to follow the save that I'll tell you about a little bit later, then I stream twice a week, usually on a Wednesday and a Friday, over on twitch.tv/PokesFM. So let's get to it. And the first point that I want to raise about this is about player affiliation. When you're doing a one club save, then you can quite quickly become affiliated with a particular player in your side, and you might really desire that player to stick with you through thick and thin through every season. You know, you look at your squad and you're thinking, this is a beautiful squad and I love them so much, and there's certain players that stick out to you and hold a place in your heart, and you might either healthily or more often than unhealthily form an attachment with that player. And that can actually damage your save. So a Journeyman can actually be quite helpful because you jump from club to club and you could bring that player with you if you want, but you don't necessarily have to. However, player affiliation, I think, is actually a pro of a one club save for other reasons. Now, actually, with a one club save, you really get to know your squad. You get to know those individual players, not just what the scout report says and what the attributes might say, but actually how well they tend to play in the system that you want to play them. A Journeyman, you've got to figure that out so much quicker, and it can be really tricky to really get a handle on that squad or even make that squad your own. So I think with a one club save, you can be really affiliated with your players. You can know them well, understand them well, build your own squad over the years, and still have a secret little love affair going on with 1 or 2 players. The second thing I want to raise, an issue I want to raise, is about freshness of the save. See, when you are doing a one club save, it can become quite dry. Think about it, you're going season in, season out, and as you could look at your progression as a club, sometimes it can flatline, and it can take season upon season upon season upon season, and before you know it, you might spend a decade in the Vanarama Conference desperate to get promoted, and you just can't do it. And before you know it, you're getting bored, you're getting fed up. However, with a journeyman, what you can do is when that dryness begins to come, you can jump from another club into another club into another club. And there's that beautiful thing where you can kind of keep it fresh for longer and bring in the players that you want to bring in and get rid of the ones you don't want to get rid of if you're done with them or bored with them. And it can keep a little bit fresh for a little bit longer. So I'd say freshness of a save is certainly something to bear in mind, and longevity of a save when you're looking at a journeyman. It can be easier to go on for longer with a journeyman. The third point I want to make is a little bit grey and a little bit fluffy around the edges, but I think it will make sense, and that is the story of your save. Now, I'm a Football Manager content creator, so part of what I want to do is try and tell a story in my save to people and try and bring other people with me in the story, right? You know, I want them to feel part of it just as I'm part of it, and there'll be a cool narrative and story going on. But I think that's actually the case for anybody who plays Football Manager, not just content creators. So maybe if you think about it, if you're talking to your mate about Football Manager, one of the great things is telling the story about your save that you've got. And one of the things I've noticed about storytelling when it comes to Football Manager is that it tends to be the one club save. You know, you're telling your story about how the board were behind you, and then they hated you, and then they loved you, and then you took them through the ranks and everything's going great. And it tends to be, the stories we tell tend to be about those one clubs. Very rarely do you hear a story about a journeyman that your mate or even you have done. However, I would say that there's some exceptions to this, and that would be if you're doing one of those kind of special challenges that are journeyman, such as a Pentagon challenge where you're trying to win every trophy from every continent in the world. You know, that is quite a cool story to tell, but that tends to be quite a niche group that you tell that story to, whereas you know that a story that is really going to fly and be loved by many people, including yourself, tends to be that one club that you take them from the bottom all the way to the top. So, as you can tell, I'm saying that's a pro for a one club save. The fourth point I want to make is about the save knowledge and the world knowledge within your save that you have, particularly if you do a journeyman. If you're jumping from club to club to club, your save knowledge tends to increase, and you tend to be able to have a greater scope of seeing the players, but also a greater level of understanding who is at your disposal from the different countries, from the different continents maybe even, and you can really begin to get the sort of players that you really, really love, and you can have a good understanding and knowledge as who is there. Whereas if you think about it, if you're in a low league side or in an obscure league in the middle of nowhere and you're trying to find new players, it can be really hard because your scouts don't tend to know stuff, and you don't tend to have the money to be able to afford massive scout packages to be able to send these scouts to all sorts of players. So it can be really tricky to have a decent understanding of what sort of players are at your disposal in order to really grow that club from where it is to somewhere better. Is a tricky thing. So in a nutshell, we're looking at about 2 apiece here. 2 points that certainly, prefer the journeyman, and there are 2 points here that certainly would say that the one club save is better. But however, my last point I would say is probably the most contentious, but probably the one I would most confidently stand by. And I would say that a one club save is harder than a journeyman. Let me tell you why. Something I've noticed about journeymans is that the progression of journeymans tends to go a lot faster than the reality of football in real life. You know, you might start as a Sunday League football manager with no attributes, no coaching badges, and start at the lowest league you can. But before you know it, within 3 seasons, you might be managing somebody in League 2 or maybe even League 1. And within 5 seasons, you might already be in the Premiership, still having only really about 5 or 6 years of management experience in your back pocket. And to me, that strikes me as a little bit too easy. Doesn't it to anybody else? But when you're in a one club save, it's you and the club. There's a far less kind of external forces at play. It's between how good a manager are you and how good is your club and how good a manager can you become and how good a club can you make that club. And yeah, there are other factors in play like money and things like that. But I genuinely think that a one club save, if we're talking about taking a club from the bottom to the top, tends to be that little bit harder. And so really that leaves it down to you. Do you want an easy save or do you want a harder save? Actually, that's a bit harsh. I'm not saying that Journeymans are easy, but I definitely think they are easier. I would love to hear your comments of this one in the chat, so do leave it in the chat and I'd love to hear what you think about that. Do you think Journeymans are easier or do you think one club saves are easier? For me, I really enjoy a challenge, partly because I'm really rubbish at the game anyway, so if I take a hard save, then it kind of, at least I can blame it on the save rather than my inability to manage. But what do you prefer? Do you prefer a harder save or do you prefer an easier save? If you prefer a harder save, then I recommend you go for the one club save. And so that's it really, they're my 5 points. I think personally I prefer a one club save. I think I have played way more one club saves in my time playing Football Manager, so that probably is an influence. However, that's what I think. And so I'd love to know what you think. What do you prefer, one club save or your Journeyman? Leave your comments in the chat. Let's see how many people think what. Maybe we should do some sort of poll somewhere. That'd be clever, wouldn't it? But what I want to do for the final throws of this video is tell you my story, because I started here on YouTube and over on Twitch a European Journeyman. The plan was to look at countries that aren't sort of UK based, because I always manage in the UK. Look at countries in Europe but outside of the UK. And the aim was to kind of just progress as a manager and travel around these countries and manage in a whole bunch of places. The first job I got was Grorud IL, who's starting the second tier of Norwegian football. And I'm now 6 seasons into that save. And the reality is, here I am. As you can see from the screen, I am still here at Grorud. It's game time 2026 and I'm still here. You see, what happened after the 3rd season is I was like, shall I move on? Shall I stay? And I ended up staying, ended up doing 4 seasons. And I got to the end of the 4th season and my chat on Twitch were like, what are you going to do here? Are you going to jump? Are you going to actually move? Is this actually going to be a Journeyman? Or are you going to stay at your club? And the reality was, I just loved Grorud more and more and more. But as I said, this save was beginning to get a bit dry because I'd kind of got them promoted to the Premiership and I was like, is this as far as I'm going to be able to take them? Can it really progress any more than this? Will I be able to win the Norwegian League when you've got the likes of Rosenborg in the Norwegian Eliteserien? Or should I jump ship and see where I could go? Poland, there's jobs in Poland going. I could have taken those, but I decided to stick it out at Grorud. And I want to share with you a little bit about where that save is now at. So I decided there in that time that I wanted to make this a one club save, but I had to do something to kind of shake it up a little bit to avoid that kind of dullness and so I could bring that freshness back into the save. So we started this. That's right, all or nothing Grorud with me, a Pokes original, twitch.tv/PokesFM. Now, obviously I'm a content creator, so I had to brand it in some ways, but part of this was about creating some rules around it so that it would be, right, I'm not jumping ship anymore, I'm sticking with this club through thick and thin, the love is there, the romance is there, let's see if we can write a story. So in order to do that, I did this. I came up with some rules for the save that added a little bit of freshness in it, but also that kind of goal and a drive. Because ultimately with a Journeyman, you have a goal. And even with a one club save, you need some kind of goal to help that save go well. So the 4 rules that I've now got on this save are these. 1, no job interviews. I'm not allowed to take any job interviews from anywhere else. I stick with Grorud for as long as this save lasts. 2, victory or sacked. These are the 2 ways that this save will end. Either I get sacked and that's the end of the save, or 2, I win the Norwegian League and maybe even win the Champions League. I cannot see that happening. The 3rd rule is I aim to be the Norwegian... The 3rd rule is that I'm aiming to be the #1 club in Norway. Currently, as you can see here, the last couple of seasons have been dominated by Rosenborg. Bodo Glimt have had a chance, as have Odd, as have Kristiansund, but Rosenborg have won this league the most times in this save so far, and my aim is to knock them off their post and be the #1 club in Norway. And the 4th rule, as you can see here, is to become respected in Europe. So what does that mean? I guess it ultimately means it's an acknowledgement that for Grorud to win the Champions League at the speed that I play the game, which is ridiculously slow, The reality of that happening is quite low. So what I want to do is get them into Europe, regularly into the Champions League. You know, it'd be great to be able to get out the group stages, but basically become a team that are respected in Europe. Again, I get it. That's so grey around the edges, but sue me. It's my save. So really that brings me to the end of this now. As you can see, so my save is now all or nothing grow rude. And for those of you who have got this far in the video, firstly, thank you for doing that. Well, good patience. But secondly, if you're one of these people that watches every one of my videos and you've seen the couple of episodes of the European Journeyman and you're like, where is that? What's he doing with that? There's the story. I've now stuck with Grow Rude. It's now shifted to a one club save. We're doing all or nothing Grow Rude. And I'm also shifting it to be purely over on Twitch now for however long it lasts for. And I'm really enjoying the save again now. The freshness is there. It's fun. I've been in the Affiliation in Norway for 2 seasons now, and I've gotten to 11th place both seasons and predicted to be bottom of the league by quite a way, but I've managed to get them into 11th place out of 16 positions, which I'm pretty pleased with. So do join me over there if you want. We've got a great little community, great little chat going on over there. But until next time, which is hopefully only going to be in a week's time, because I'm going to start making videos every week for YouTube. Oh, imagine that. Anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you later.